In this lesson, we're going to learn how to make a clickable prototype quite fast with just a few images and Keynote. So let's get started. What we have here is actually the wrapped up wireframes I have just done from the last lesson. And if you notice, I've actually gone and outlined and added a few annotations here and there to really roughly annotate what was going on, what were some tech considerations, how things was kind of working, what happened when you selected the special powers, and that kind of information box of assisted learning or storytelling that we talked about that could happen in between the experience. So in order to kind of make a clickable prototype, especially from this stage, I export all these images as PNG sequences, almost like a PNG sequence, but as a batch file. But before we do that, I want to turn off all these callouts. So all these callouts, if you notice, those I feel like are just going to get in our way. I don't want us to worry about that. So once we have done all that, and in this case, I actually removed these little guys before I export it because I found out that'd be a little bit more effective through the prototype. So let's go ahead, and what I would do is I would open up the file menu and click export. And here you go. What you can do is you want a PNG, and I would say use the artboards because that's exactly what I want to do. We want to do all our artboards, so make sure we get all of those. And when you hit export, make sure this resolution is at 300 300 ppi, because as most screens are in Retina, and also if you're working through Keynote, very vector based, which is something I very much am happy with. And export those guys, and I made sure it was on a white background. So I already did this, but you guys can go ahead and do it when you guys feel is ready. And we're going to go ahead and access our Keynote files. So these are all those images I exported out. And if you don't believe me, I actually can show you right here. See, Lee? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right here, baby. So I drag all those images almost like this, and right it goes. I can put them anywhere, and there's that image, and I can just wrap it up and ready to play. But this is what we're going to do. What we're going to do now is that we have those images. I'm going to grab this little box, and I want to highlight this button that I just put in the wireframe, because that's going to be a functional, or I should say, one of our clickable functional points. I don't want to fill, and I don't want to drop shadow. That's kind of the default stuff, but I do want to add a link. And I want this to go to the next slide. So click the slide, boom. So every time I interact with this, when I do the demo, it's going to take me to this point, which is quite nice. But now let's draw something here, because we talked about the logo being, what do you want to say, our exit, where if you're done with the experience, or you kind of want to leave and return back to the beginning, you want to be able to click our logo, because it's kind of like our home button, our call to action there. Instead of us coming straight forward and saying, hey, click cancel, because that's not really the best type of way we want to communicate our game, because you don't want anyone to kind of leave the game until they're done. So let's go ahead and get rid of this border. And I want to go ahead and add a link there. And I want to go to the first slide. Why? Because the home is on our very number one slide. So no matter what, it's going to go right there. So go to slide, and that confirms my action. Now I'm going to copy him, and I'm going to put him on this page, and this page, and this page. And I've already done it for these pages. So all those pages have that action. So no matter where I'm in the experience, I can click that logo, and it'll always take me right here. Now, a clever thing is that if we go to later on, this one, for example, I can access this particular page on any, let's see here, where did it go? On any one of these pages, this page, and this page, by interacting with this dude. And what I have there is, basically it says, I'm telling it to go last slide viewed. So it doesn't matter what page I'm at. If I come here, I can go back to that, because this is the OK state, returning me back to where I came from, to the last previous state, which is quite nice, because this is exactly how we kind of communicate, and we want our experience to entail. So there we go. As you can see, we have collected all our pages from a simple of what was it, 6, 7 images. We were able to make a 16-page prototype, which kind of stitch our whole story together and also storyboard it. So in order to do that, I want to say go to File and Export here, but more importantly, go to HTML because we want an HTML exportable prototype. And we're going to click Next. And clicking Next is going to just ask you to where you want to locate it, and you just confirm that. And I put mine on my desktop. So if we go to Safari, here we are, and if we open up the file that we just exported, it will take a few minutes. It's got to do a lot of stuff because it has a lot of assets it's working with. We're going to drag this index file right into our Safari, and voila, there's our prototype. So if you notice, whoops, I accidentally clicked on the outside, but got us going. But if you notice, here we are. Here's our prototype. If I hover over the logo, I'm back at this screen. If I hit begin, I'm back here. If I click the menu, I could actually see where in the experience that I have completed and I have not completed. I click menu again, I'm back at that previous state where I just came from. Let's say I want to move this guy to that block. Opens that door, great. Move this guy back over. I ideally want him to, glide through. We're dragging this stuff, but for this prototype, it's just quick and easy. Just trying to get our point across for whoever we're communicating with, maybe be our client or maybe even be our developer. And I want to move this guy over to kind of complete this level. And as he moves over, that door closes and there's the end screen. So I get a little congratulations, and it tells me like, you did a great job moving through and you creatively found a way of collaborating to kind of finish this level, and I'm like pumped and I want to continue. Here's another level. What's different here is I have a little guy trying to tell me something. Remember that? So here's an additional layer to the story. And I can maybe read what this little cool man says, and I can click OK, and it brings me right back to this point, and I can continue playing. Maybe he gave me a tip how I have to kind of like accelerate or hurry up before these suits come along. Something that we can work with the storyteller and also some of the creative direction of how we want to flesh out the story in further detail. Now, last but not least, we got a little special power box. And yet there's no surface plate for us to unlock this door. So hopefully this guy's going to help me. So I drag over there, and then we were talking about how we raise that special power, and there he is. And I want to activate that because my loner guy is like stranded. So I activate like that, zap, door is gone. And that's, in fact, I think working through this prototype actually helped me kind of understand how these little special boxes can be used, or what more ideas can they entail. So a lot of bonus stuff can happen in that. And the best way about those bonus activities and those bonus thoughts is to prototype, play with the experience, start creating your own puzzles. I mean, we're at a point now that I think in the next maybe, several days, we would actually kind of like spend a lot of time of figuring out how complex can we push these puzzles? What kind of puzzles do we want to make out? What are the kind of mazes that we want to do? And if I want to resume to the menu here, I just want to come back to the first level, I can do so. And this is just, remember, this is a prototype understanding the functional stuff, the pure functional interaction points of storytelling from point A to point B, because it's very much like a storyboard. And then the finesse and the gesture stuff and everything else, we will take that a step further when we work with our developer and we work with the more gesture control and the feedback that kind of gives us. But in the end, now you know exactly how you can build a very nice clickable prototype quite fast with just a simple exported images and Keynote. So good luck.